we leave the reality that there really has been this world-covering flood upon the earth, we're going to misunderstand everything about this planet because we've left the truth out of our thinking at the very start.
If we don't make God's Word that light before us, we will literally become blinded to the obvious when it's right in front of our faces.
About 4,000 churches close every year in America. If this was a business, we would be in crisis mode. And the reason is, God's Word is being rejected from the beginning. The Bible's interpretation, the Bible's clear teaching about history matches science much, much better than the very foundational thinking of evolution.
We've got to go around an established system of training people to think in only one possible way and show them the beauty of the evidence of why we exist.
It's really an issue of, can you trust God's Word or not? And even if we're ridiculed, even if we're made fun of, even if we're disbelieved, we've got to keep the truth in front of people. Cosmology, geology, biology, the three major areas of science. God is the one who did it all. And those acknowledging that the Bible is true have dropped from about 50% to only about a third. And furthermore, about 4,000 churches close every year in America. If this was a business, we would be in crisis mode. And the reason is, God's Word is being rejected from the beginning. So hang in there as we follow through on this class and we continue to start to walk through what science and reality really shows us about the accuracy of God's Word.
Native Americans lived in dwellings such as this wigwam, and we're going to be discussing their record of where they believed everything came from and the amazing parallel between their beliefs and what God's Word tells us is the reality of the past.
There were symbols tied to 2 or 3 or 4 keywords, and these keywords had meanings which acted as a memory mechanism so they could pass this history along from generation to generation over thousands of years. The next symbol, it has tied to keywords that mean an evil sorcerer, a snake. Interesting, a snake came upon the earth. is not some forgery made up by the original translator, but by people who had to have known things even scientists in the 1800s wouldn't have known. You see, stories are important if they're about truth. And if they're ignored, the truth of God's Word, it will distort everything else about how we see, understand, and interpret the world around us.
In the case of life, all 5 criteria fit the fact there has to be an intelligent design behind it. With Mount Rushmore, only 3 of the criteria fit the idea that it was intelligently designed, and yet it's obvious it was intelligently designed. Look at this clock. It has many, many different components, all of them designed to work together and turn exactly as a pendulum swings as they ratchet forward to maintain time. Any form of life, even the most simple single-celled organism, is made up of multiple components that don't occur naturally. Let's say I shook this can for a billion years. This is going to be a very long class. Isn't science fun? Wait. If we don't make God's Word that light before us, we will literally become blinded to the obvious when it's right in front of our faces. Locked into the very stones is the reality that our sin brings death. Scientists believe the glaciers that covered this area were 1 to 2 miles deep. We're talking 20 miles of snow in order to compact down and make 2 miles of ice. You have a tree standing upright for millions of years without ever toppling over. It makes absolutely no sense. The mighty acts of God are true at a time when many denominations and many churches have denied God's Word and have quit teaching what it says. The rocks themselves are crying out to the reality and the truth of this event. Behold now the behemoth, which I made along with thee. He moves his tail like a cedar tree. His bones are as strong as pieces of brass, as strong as bars of iron. They drew pictures and depictions of them, all sorts of places and cultures all over the world. You see example after example after example of various ancient people from places around the world that are drawing creatures what we would expect dinosaurs to look like. Look at the size, the scope, and the scale of this magnificent boat. This provided salvation for mankind. To pretend that God has always had death and disease and bloodshed and extinctions in this creation is a very distortion of what God's Word says. I often hear people say, well, it really doesn't matter when God created as long as I acknowledge that God is creator. God tells us that creation is not just good, but very good. There is method after method after method after method of determining how old are things, and time after time they show a recent creation. The central emphasis of everything is life began on Earth 4.5 billion years ago. That is the foundation of the whole philosophy of evolution and naturalism. We've got to go around an established system of training people to think in only one possible way. Millions and billions of years, evolution is a fact, and show them the beauty and reality of the evidence that supports a true biblical creation model of why we exist.